We rescued a woman who hit her head, but her entitled neighbor tried to pull her out of the ambulance because she needed a babysitter, so the cops tased her. This happened last night, and I still can't believe someone would do this. I'm a paramedic, and we were dispatched to a 75-year-old female who fell at home. The patient stated that she tripped over her carpet and hit her head when she fell. We arrived on the scene and noticed that the house was a duplex with our patient's door on the right and her neighbors on the left. We entered the house and found her lying on the floor. The woman was awake and breathing. We started asking her the standard questions, and she stated that she had a pounding headache and remembered walking to bed and then waking up on the floor. In my field, that's a pretty big red flag. We noticed that she's got a pretty good lump on the side of her head and a big bruise already forming. I saw the bruise and asked if she was on any blood thinners. She said that she was on blood thinners for a previous stroke she had a few years ago. We urged her to let us take her to the hospital because there was a possibility that the fall could have caused a bleed in her brain, and she should go to the hospital to get some scans done. She agrees, and we begin to package her up. We applied a C-collar around her neck in case of any C-spine injuries. She denied any neck or back pain, so we lifted her and placed her on our stair chair. It's a chair with tracks that we use to carry patients up and down stairs. As we got her out of the house, her neighbor whipped the door open and started yelling about her inability to sleep with all the lights and noises outside. The sound of the stair chair woke her up, and she was unhappy. My lieutenant walked over to her, apologized, and said that we were dealing with a medical emergency and would leave soon enough. The Karen neighbor then noticed that our patient was her neighbor, and that's when she started yelling about something different. The entitled neighbor started yelling, "You can't take her to the hospital. I have errands tomorrow, and she needs to watch my kids." My lieutenant reiterated that we were here for a medical emergency and that her health was more important than her errands. The entitled neighbor let out a loud huff and then slammed the door in his face. We thought that was the end of it. We were wrong. After a few minutes in the back of the ambulance, we told our lieutenant that he could take the engine crew back to the station and that we would be heading out in a few minutes. After we checked her vitals, got an IV going, and started giving her IV fluids, my partner got out of the back and went up to the driver's seat. About 5 seconds later, the back doors of my ambulance fly open, and who do I see? The entitled neighbor, of course. She needed a few minutes to get dressed before coming outside. I yell at her, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" She yells back, "I told you that she can't go to the hospital because she has to watch my kids tomorrow." She then starts trying to pull the cat out of the ambulance with our patient on it. Luckily, she didn't know how to unlatch the cot and couldn't get her out. Our patient says, "I can't watch your kids tomorrow because I fell and I might be having a stroke." The entitled neighbor yells back at her and says, "You're fine. You don't need to go to the hospital because you're not having a stroke." My partner then hears the commotion and goes to the back of the ambulance. He pulls her off the cot, and I slam and lock the doors. You could tell that the entitled neighbor was about to become combative. It's important to know that either the police department or the sheriff's department responds to our calls too when it's at night. Because of where we were, the sheriff's department took a few minutes to show up on the scene, but he arrived just in time. I couldn't hear much through the door, but saw the officer get out of his cruiser with his taser drawn. My partner returns to the driver's seat and heads to the hospital. The last thing I saw through the back windows was the entitled neighbor stomping towards the officer and then her hitting the ground after being tased. Super satisfying to watch. I was talking with my patient and asked what that was all about, and she said that the entitled neighbor would just drop her 3 young kids off at her house and leave for several hours at a time with no notice. My patient had no idea that she was supposed to watch the kids at all because, again, the entitled neighbor never even gave her a heads up about these things.